If you want certain laws reformed, then take it up with Congress. Again, ICE is making this up. They're enforcing laws enacted by Congress and signed by the President.
The border czar also shared this exclusive video with Fox News. It shows an operation that led to the arrest of a Mexican national who is an accused sex offender, I should say, and convicted human smuggler. And this is the carrying out of that operation in Minnesota on Wednesday. Chad Wolf, former acting DHS secretary, now Homeland Secretary, a security chair at the America First Policy Institute. Chad, good to have you here. Let me first get your reaction to this announcement by Todd Blanche that there is a civil rights investigation underway as well into the case with the killing, I should say, of Alex Preddy.
Well, look, I think that tracks with what the president and others have said, which is there is an investigation not only into that incident, but obviously into an earlier one as well. So the investigation will play out. There's DHS is investigating, the FBI is investigating, and so that process is going to unfold. And we've heard the president say that he wants that investigation to be exhaustive, really to get down to it. So I don't think what Todd Blanche said was surprising in any sense. I think he was reiterating the work that the men and women of the FBI do in such an investigation, as well as the Department of Justice.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth mentioning that in the context of the Epstein investigation, Todd Blanche wanted to make it very clear that the Department of Justice takes any sort of child predator or human trafficking case very seriously, and we see some of those actually, being carried out in the work that DHS is doing on the ground in Minnesota for sure, and in other places as well. When you look at this video, Chad, that was released by Tom Homan of the operation that took place, is there anything that you see that looks any different from what we have seen in some of these videos, which, some of which have raised some questions about how operations were going in Minnesota? Do you see any difference in the new release of video in terms of procedure?
No, not specific. Yeah, no, not specifically. Look, when they go out into a criminal operation, you're going to have DHS assets and personnel making sure that they're prepared for that. It depends on the target. It depends on the nature of that individual, who is also perhaps around that individual. Have they witnessed weapons and others? So, when you see officers there in vests and tactical gear, that's for their protection because, again, they're going after a criminal target who could be dangerous, who could be on the run. There's a variety of different things going on there. So that is very common, very standard procedure, depending on that target. So nothing in that video jumps out at me. And I think that's the normal course of business for ICE.
Yeah. Tom Homan has been very clear that he wants the focus to be on criminal apprehensions, people who have criminal records, what I think most people have come to know as the worst of the worst. What do you make of his focus on that and maybe on less of a broader sweep?
Yeah, I think, well, two things that Tom mentioned in his press conference yesterday was, in fact, that going after the worst of the worst, and indicated that there were plenty of targets there in the Minneapolis, Minnesota area to do just that. And with that agreement of being able to go into county or city jails to pick up those individuals, I think that's where the focus will be. And I think that's what we've heard the president say. But in that press conference, Tom also indicated that, look, they're not going to ignore the law, that if they come across individuals that don't have a legal right to be here, even if they've been here 10 years, that they're going to execute the law. We saw what Joe Biden did by excluding whole classes of individuals from any type of enforcement action. And I would argue that that caused one of the biggest border crises that we've seen, because that sent a signal to individuals to come. And as long as you don't commit another crime here in the United States, well, then you're going to be exempt from deportation. And it's the wrong signal to send.
True. I'm curious what you think of, I spoke with Leader Jeffries yesterday, and he, there are certain parameters that the Democrats are saying they want in order to reopen the government, in changes in how DHS functions, including no masks, body cameras, more training, codes of conduct. What do you make of those requirements on their part?
Well, I find it interesting, right? Because if we look at what ICE does around the country, if you have local cooperation, there is no chaos. There are safe interactions. It's only when sanctuary cities put up policies that block ICE, and then there's chaos. And so what the Democrats' response to that is I'm going to put up policies that block ICE, and then I'm going to require reforms to ICE. It doesn't make any sense to me. I think if you wanted to do something around trying to make safer interactions with ICE, if that's your goal, then you would actually give them more access and demand that cooperation with locals. That's how you get to safety. It's not putting all of these ridiculous, quote, reforms, or I would say limitations on what ICE can do, as well as making their job unsafe, such as removing masks when they're constantly being doxxed and having their lives threatened.
Yeah, Lindsey Graham agrees with you on that, and he wants to see the end of sanctuary cities and believes that it would go a long way to making these situations safer. And we certainly see that it's very, very different in other cities than it is in the state of Minnesota. Chad, thank you very much. Chad Wolf, good to see you as always. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.